Welcome back into the Proving Grounds. That was one way to start off Series 2 with Game 1 between Evil Geniuses Academy and FlyQuest Academy. Evil Geniuses were able to take that game, but that was one of the longest, most drawn out, and strangely, most controlled Baron counterattacks I've ever seen out of a team.
Controlled is a word for it, Magical. It felt like it was back and forth just because there was so much chaos. You saw Evil Geniuses Academy even giving up JoJo, Pew, Mystique's, Tony Top at the very beginning of the fight, only for them to wait long enough to come back. And FlyQuest Academy, all they had to do was just not fight that entire time. Either focus the entire time on Baron or get off of it, because there was no winning by staying against a poke comp in the Baron pit.
No, it was. And that's the whole idea. But the thing that was crazy is you see how close that game had gotten at some point, where it was Evil Geniuses ahead, and then there's a great fight from FlyQuest Academy, right? But then here's the moment where they just kept harassing them over and over and over again. And so FlyQuest Academy, even though they were the ones standing on that Baron for so long, lost it.
It's really just that debuff that you got to watch out for. And this was the final fight that we saw. And it was another case of positioning wherein you could see JoJo, Pune, and Shoryu just free to do whatever they wanted on the backside. Whereas diving onto the front was Contracts and Tony Top, who just managed to completely derail any strategy FlyQuest Academy had and end the game from there.
Exactly. Get it? That game, it was a almost 37-minute victory for them. It seemed like it was a lot longer just because when we got to that mid game, when we got to that late game, it was so close. But you can see right now that Evil Genius Academy, one game away from being able to get themselves into round 2, knocking FlyQuest Academy down to the losers bracket. But if we've learned anything from FlyQuest Academy, it's that for some reason, they tend to lose game 1 all the time. And then in any best of 3, they win the next 2 games. And this is something we saw last week in the Northern Arena tournament, where they pretty much lost every single game 1. And then almost every single series after that were able to win the series. The only time that wasn't true was in the finals.
And that was against Team Liquid Academy, the second seed of this tournament right now. But Magical, FlyQuest Academy really did show a lot of weakness during this game. And I feel like it was stubbornness more than anything else. It wasn't their team fighting. I thought it was fine. It was just some positioning mistakes and some late game callouts that didn't quite translate into victories. And I feel like they can fix that. They just need to be very, very careful with how they approach their final fights, and maybe even change the bans up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Well, like, when we look at them, FlyQuest did really try to see if they can focus on to Tony Top in the top lane, right? They got the Renekton and Narban, something that's not too out of the ordinary for first rotation bans, but they really were trying to see if they can make it a bit easier for Kumo in the top lane, yet still grabbed Shen into that top lane to have that weak side top lane, knowing Tony Top was going to try to play something aggressive, and yet it was the Shen opted into the Camille. They already knew that that was there, and so I feel like maybe they need to start focusing it somewhere else. Maybe get a bit of a better matchup, like for mid lane, or maybe even for NXI over Contracts, so that you can have NXI, this upcoming player that was pretty much making his name over on 100 Thieves Next last year, and now here in Academy has been proven himself to be a great control type jungler, where he's able to control the tempo of the game.
But at the same time, the draft strategy was fine coming out of FlyQuest Academy. The first pick was the Lilia, which after banning away, I believe, 2 junglers, it was
2 junglers by Evil Geniuses.
Hecarim and Udyr.
Yes.
Evil Geniuses Academy would ban away in the first round. So picking up the Lilia, not a problem. And I feel like NXI still felt strong on that character. It was just the overall team fight that went wrong. The draft was fine. The plays were fine up until a certain point. And then there was just a collapse in a late game decision making, which, again, not something that's typical of this team. And I feel like they're going to be able to bring it on back in the next game of this series.
Well, it's the idea that I always say is that FlyQuest Academy need to be able to download their opponents and be able to figure out how to play against them. And the game 1's always the one where it's the download complete. They've got it now, so maybe bouncing into game 2, they've got the communication that they need to be able to bounce back and figure out how they want to be able to dismantle Evil Geniuses Academy. But I feel like Evil Geniuses, even though they had a composition that wanted to be able to get these early leads, still played around a lot of these team fights, utilizing the poke from Contracts so well.
It was a really, really well played game by Evil Geniuses Academy, and their draft, although it didn't have many options, they still used the options they had to perfect effect, especially towards the late game. And Contracts, I think, played very, very well throughout that entire game.
Yes, I definitely agree with you. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more ganking early on from him, but it didn't matter. It was like he was constantly everywhere around the map trying to make sure that he could control NXI, so NXI wasn't able to make any of those early to mid-game plays himself, and then eventually was able to pull the trigger and got, what, he was 6-1 at one point? And that was like,
so.
having started the first 15 minutes of the game, not really doing too much besides taking objectives.
I mean, the first 12 minutes of the game, I believe First Blood happened at either 11:30 or 12 minutes, and then there were just 2 kills that followed immediately afterwards because it was a bot lane play. But the fact that both these teams were playing so passive and so unwilling to give up that First Blood probably indicates that they're trying, both of them have a similar strategy, trying to play towards the late game, even though Evil Geniuses Academy didn't necessarily draft that way.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I find interesting. It's like, Evil Genius Academy didn't really draft that way. When we look back to like how we saw them last week, they could play that way, but they also did like to play a little bit in towards that mid game, as you were kind of highlighting. Not necessarily having to smash early game, as the mid game when they really came into their own and they had that bang to the buck that you'd expect to have when you have a Lucian and Italy, Camille even for Tony Top in the top lane, where he was pretty much throughout all that game was able to flex his muscle over Kuma.
And I feel like those muscles are going to be continually flexed as this goes on, just because it's so close up top. And considering the meta is so focused around these team fights in the mid and late game, you have to be concerned with how well your top lane is doing. And even though you pick Shen for Kumo, who is a weak side top laner, you still have to make sure he's not far behind Tony Top. And I feel like NXI did a good job of that, making sure that the pressure was topside enough to not make Contracts, this tour de force and going top, getting Kumo over and over. But there were mistakes back and forth, and I feel like both teams just need to clean it up for game 2.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. It's one of those things where you kind of like jump into the new tournament. It's Proving Grounds. Maybe they just got a little bit of rust on themselves. Even if they played Northern Arena last week, they're like, okay, we're on the big stage now. We're trying to prove everyone again why we're here at an academy, why we're players that were picked up, and try to see how well we're going to be able to perform. And I gotta say, for the most part, though, it seemed like Evil Geniuses Academy had knocked off a lot of the rust. There was maybe that one bad fight that happened that was almost the end of it all until they were able to mount a counter defense around Baron. But it seemed like, for the most part, that they were a very well put together organization.
They did look a lot more put together, and again, they played towards their strengths. And in Academy and virtually every single game of League of Legends, you have to play towards your team's win condition, whether that's the team in terms of players or the team in terms of draft. You have to look for what you have as a strength, whether that's poke, whether that's team fighting, whether that's communication, if you're talking about the players, and you need to make sure you play accordingly to whatever has brought your team success so far.
So now I do want to ask you this before we do hop into Champion Select for our next game. What would you like to see changed from both rosters? So like, what would be certain picks that you'd like to see either not taken at all, or maybe just try to go back onto them?
There was a lot of me that liked the Senna Kench lane coming out of Evil Geniuses Academy. I do kind of want to see a more aggressive bot lane coming out of them for the next round. I want to see, maybe a hyper carry like Jinx, maybe a Tristana if they can possibly get it. It's unlikely. Maybe they try to go for something like an outside Varus or Jhin pick, something like that, that tries to really stay back, try to get the aggression via long range, and then have the engage support, the Threshes, the Alistars, the Leonas, what have you, for Dreams.
I'd be curious to see if we're going to see something like that. I mean, Tristana was actually completely untouched in that last game, so I'm interested to see going into Champions Select for Game 2 between these two squads, if maybe Tristana gonna fall through the wayside once more. We've seen Kai'Sa fall into the wayside, where a lot of people have not been really paying as much attention to her as they had at the beginning of the season, so maybe Tristana is destined down the same path.
Could very well be the case. I mean, we are just starting out the Proving Grounds tournament, but after all the play that we've had through the amateur scene, through the 3 qualifying tournaments, as well as the regular season, I feel like Tristana isn't going anywhere. I feel like she's just going to be this main staple of 11.6.
I wouldn't be too surprised. I mean, 11-7 is right around the corner, and I do believe that she's getting a bit of a nerf. But a lot of like the meta champions are kind of getting a nerf down the road. 11-7's down the path ahead. We're still on 11-6 that we're going to be playing on. So I'm curious to see if maybe we'll see not like the Aphelios Thresh, maybe the Jinx Thresh into that bot lane coming in from FlyQuest. Something that's going to be able to have a bit more of that bang in the late game. But let's jump into Champion Select. Get ready for Game 2 between FlyQuest Academy and Evil Geniuses Academy.
In about a minute, because we will be getting there just a second. Teams are very much deciding they do need a break, and especially after that last game, I imagine both coaches kind of looked at that VOD, went to their teams and said, maybe we need to change something. Maybe we need to kind of think about this for just a quick second. And that happens. I feel like the coach input is going to be really important, especially in a best of 3 series where both teams have, although they have history against each other, they do still need to consider this as a new day and a new set of games where mentalities can change and a lot of different factors come into play. So Madalento really needs to look at his team and say, let's fix this. And on the other side, Fantix needs to say, okay, late game, change it, different, done.
Maybe just play a little bit cleaner around some of those Baron fights and not really get pinned in by someone like Contracts. But I feel like that when we get into this next Champion Select between the two teams, that it is a difficult thing to go into Contracts. This guy has such a massive champion pool, and now we are going to be jumping into Champion Select for game number 2 between Evil Geniuses Academy, who are up 1-0 over FlyQuest Academy. I want to see what that first ban comes in. It's going to be the rise again towards Jojo Pion.
I mean, he's really good on the pick, and it
That is
feels like
true.
such a specific thing for Jojo Pion. On the other side, just the same Udyr ban against NXI. I imagine Hecarim to follow, so nothing really changing out of this draft thus far, and FlyQuest Academy did opt into the blue side. So
They
they're
did.
really thinking about what they want as that first pick. The Lilia available. I imagine Evil Geniuses Academy don't mind that going through. Tristana also available. Seraphine hasn't been banned away. There's just a lot of first picks that you can take, Magical.
But the thing is, it's so weird when you talk about the Tristana, you talk about the Seraphine, completely untouched last game. Neither team really seemed like they really want to play with those champions, and we're even seeing the exact same bans from FlyQuest Academy. There's Evil Genius Academy answering them. I'm wondering if Lilia is going to be the first pick, the run it back style.
Okay, that's one way to go about that game. Evil Geniuses Academy did win last time, so it's definitely not the worst decision in the world
There it is.
to run it back. But FlyQuest Academy, they haven't changed anything yet. They're just
No.
locking in the Lilia. Probably going to think about their bot lane for the second half of this draft. And Evil Geniuses Academy, world's their oyster.
I'm actually expecting it just to be Nidalee Lucian again. I think that they go back to that, try the same style once more, because it worked out for them. That Nidalee was strong, though. Ooh, we are seeing them change things up. They're going for Thresh, and do they grab Jinx for Shoryu, or do they go for the Aphelios?
I feel like there are the options available. The Lucian, also not a terrible pick here, because the Lucian Thresh, the classic wife swap lane, is also a possibility. Even if Jojo Pion is probably happier to get that pick, it allows the flexibility if they lock it in. And I feel like Evil Geniuses Academy have thrived on that flexibility.
And there it is. They're going to try to see if they can hold on to that flexibility. I'd pretty much bet that it's going to be Jojo Pion on that in the mid lane, something that's pretty reliable for the team. But there is always that option. There is always the question of whether that's going to be it or not. But FlyQuest Academy are going back to the Season 11 special in the Kaisa Rel bot lane.
Okay, so really just trying to make the strongest lane possible. Last time, it wasn't terrible to have the Thresh of Aphelios, but this time, I do like a lot more aggression coming out of FlyQuest Academy. It felt like the passiveness coming out of Evil Geniuses with the Tahm Kench and the Senna wasn't punished enough. And this might just very well be what they need in order to push an advantage early on, as the Nidalee is going to be locked in for contracts. No surprises there.
No, not at all, especially with how much focus they were able to put onto the jungle themselves to get this Lilia and Nidalee matchup once more. Plus, having Lucian, since we're expecting it to be for Jojo Pion, you need that AP threat to be able to back up the fact that you're looking for the double marksman comp.
And with that, the next ban going to be Victor. Okay, so now targeting triple on that pick that he had last game. It was reasonably effective, especially in lane. He was able to poke out Jojo Pion for the majority of the early game. But I don't know if you can really follow that up, because Syndra is still available, Orianna is still available, and you can do basically the same thing, just with slightly less range for FlyQuest Academy.
as we wait to see if it's going to be another mid lane ban coming in from Evil Geniuses Academy. I'm expecting that's probably the case. I'm just wondering which one they want to go for. You probably want to leave up things like Orianna, maybe even Galio, but maybe ban something like Twisted Fate. Take away the potential for FlyQuest Academy to be able to rotate around, and Triple does like to play that champion to be able to help out these side lanes.
But I'm glad you mentioned the Galio, because Triple has been known to play it, and I feel like this complements really well with especially Lilia and Rel. We'll be able to actually dive in, and I think that was kind of a weakness coming in from FlyQuest Academy last round, was the inability to follow up on dives and the splitting up that Evil Geniuses Academy was able to accomplish.
As Wukong is actually the final ban coming in from FlyQuest Academy, not the Camille that we saw last time around. Instead, saying, all right, we'll leave it open, but I like this answer from Evil Geniuses. Probably going to grab that Aphelios, maybe could even switch it around, grab Jinx, but it's still the weak side bot lane that's scaling up into the mid game to be able to help out the team, and holding counter pick for Tony Top to make sure that he can be even more facilitated to try to dominate the top half of the map.
The lane is strong and the counter pick availability is there. And not only that, you get the flex as you're picking the same lane that they picked last time, but Evil Geniuses Academy, I don't know that you want to have someone as low range as Aphelios. Yes, the Calibrum is going to give you range eventually, but overall, Aphelios is relatively vulnerable, and the Lantern isn't going to save you during team fights always.
No. It's not always going to be keeping you safe, especially when you have Seraphine Urgot locked in for Kumo topside. And the thing that's crazy here is that it's probably going to, it's going to be the Bruiser Urgot, but it's more of that upfront damage that you get, plus having this double support style in both a Rel and a Seraphine to be able to back up Tomo, to back up Kumo, to back up NXI. It's a really different style that you're seeing. And then Jax coming in from Tony Top, one of his specials. Oh my god.
Yeah, that is actually something that Tony Top has brought out throughout the regular season on Evil Geniuses Academy. And as a very, very aggressive top laner who loves his 1v5 characters, Jax perfectly encapsulates what he needs. Once again, the team has not drafted a whole lot of engaged Mystiques, I guess, as the Death Sentence and the Flay, but that's not going to really suit out the team. I guess Moonlight Vigil as well. Again, this team just wants to skirmish. They want to get the poke down from contracts, and they want to be able to make this work. The difference being between this time and last time, there's a lot less safety for the team. You don't have Tom Kench to be able to just swallow up anyone who gets caught out.
The thing is, I'm still looking at Tony Top on this Jax, because I wanted to make sure I was right on this. It is, at least according to Leaguepedia and the research I was able to do before, Tony Top loves Jax. This is a classic Tony Top pick. Being able to have this style. He's played it a couple times, through Arena of Legends, and playing that also over in Academy as well. This is one of those picks that he's very confident playing. And now you have this top lane kingdom. He's going to try to set up over Kumo playing an Urgot. And all you have to do is Counter-Strike to make it so that you're not going to be able to do anything with Purge.
Yeah, and the shotgun knees are not going to be as effective against a Jax, partly because of mobility, partly because of the Counter-Strike, and partly because of Grandmaster's might. So there's a lot of things happening topside, but we'll have to get into Game 2 in order to see what happens.
Ooh, as FlyQuest are mostly all grouped up here in this bottom lane, but that is a nice ward placed down by Shoryu. Gonna spot them all out as they walk up, and unfortunately not gonna be able to catch any fish that they went for this bait with.
Not quite yet, but it's still bait, and those worms are looking hungry. You can see they're rotating in. Haven't put down any vision yet. I would hope that... Oh, no, there's one more.
Yeah,
going
just one.
That blue side. But that's all you need, just to make sure you know where Contracts is going to be starting. And with that, FlyQuest Academy, they slink on back into the jungle, nonetheless.
Yeah, not really getting themselves anything. And now I'm kind of drawn my attention over to what these items are. JoJo going for the call as his first item into triple, and that does make sense. You're playing this Lucian Seraphine lane. You're not really looking to be too interactive. You're just trying to see if you're going to be able to farm up, try to get that bit of an earlier mid-game spike over Seraphine when you rotate around.
And really, there's not a lot of pressure that Seraphine can put down early on into the game. Yes, the Qs are going to hurt a little bit, but it's not going to be enough to take you down, especially without the help of NXI. But last game, we anticipated a lot more jungle presence in the solo lanes, and as it turned out, they actually went bot side more often than not, especially NXI. We saw him towards the dragon virtually the entirety of the early game.
Yeah, as right now, nice play coming in from Mystics into the spot lane to deny Dreams from being able to have that engage. It's Rel versus Thresh, kind of one of those lanes, kind of like Alistar versus Rel, or Rel versus anyone who can knock her back, where if she tries to go in before any of that lockdown potential is used, it's going to be easy to deny her, but if you got that gone, well, she can just jump right back in. Good play, though. Dreams got to be careful. Might have to flash away. Holds on to it just in case, not actually being too threatened just yet by EG.
The big thing about Rel is to use the W early on, just to make sure the crash down is not on cooldown. You actually have the mount up available, because the mount up early on, very, very dangerous. The flip over the side, really, really annoying to deal with if you're as immobile as Shoryu is in this match. And with the crash down, you're forcing out the Flay, so at the very least, that's one less cooldown that you have to worry about going onto Toma, who's just doing damage the entire time. And overall, I feel like the Rel Kaisa lane, very strong against the Aphelios Thresh.
But it's still Aphelios Thresh. They're trying to play a little bit of weaker side anyways. They're not really looking to see if they can do too much themselves. It's not until they draw down contracts like now that they might be able to find something. But look at how passive Tomo and Dreams are playing. The hook did not connect, but Contracts is in the area. Might be able to force out the flash from Tomo. He's holding on, but he's rooted up for so long. Jumped in, first blood, Contracts, of course it is. The flash coming in from Dreams to be able to survive the flash in from Shoryu. Getting a lot of damage. Spear connects. They don't need to dive because they got the kill for Mystique.
Oh, Evil Geniuses Academy, a great early gank coming in from Contracts, able to force the positioning onto Tomo, who, although it looked like he just kind of gave up his life, there really wasn't a choice to that, because going beyond the minion line means you get hit with a spear. If you use Flash, you also lose the Summoner spell. This means that the next time that Contracts decides to come bottom, he's going to be a little safer. So Evil Geniuses just taking full advantage of the positioning, and FlyQuest Academy, not a whole lot they can do against the gank.
Well, and that's the whole idea, isn't it? Is that both Aphelios Thresh, I'm sure they can rumble a little bit against Kaisa Rel, but once you bring Contracts down, that's really the kicker for that lane. And being able to get a kill onto Contracts as well as an assist to start snowballing a bit earlier. This is what we wanted to see last time, what they're able to accomplish here, getting Contracts already in a position to be scary.
And Magical, if my math is right, that was 9 minutes faster on that first blood. So well done by Evil Geniuses Academy.
I believe your math is correct. I mean, of course, someone can always double check us. I don't have a calculator in front of me.
It's hard.
I'm drinking my tea here.
I mean, the fact that he went for the 3-minute bot gank, that is aggressive coming in from Evil Geniuses Academy. And I like that we're casting a team that is more than willing to do the aggressive option, even if it's not the 100% option.
Hey, you know what? That's how we play. You and I are always that kind of player when it comes to our own gameplay. Flash is an offensive summoner, people. How many times do I have to say this?
Look it up. I mean, it's on F. Yeah. F is the aggressive button.
B, aggressive. B, okay, yeah.
No, F aggressive.
Oh, wait.
No.
No, I guess you're right.
Use that.
Yeah, no, we're gonna go back into this game, because right now, we're seeing some components picked up by both sides. Nothing too spectacular just yet. It's interesting to see that Kumo also going for a call into the top lane, into a Jax, just trying to be able to scale up a bit, knowing that Tony Top is going to constantly be looking for these fights. And we already have seen a couple times that Kumo's unfortunately not been able to stand his own really against this Jax, who constantly is harassing him.
It's going to be even rougher now that the Vamp Scepter has been picked up, and Tony Top has all the sustain in the world. Triple.
Oh my goodness, he almost died. I didn't think he was going to have to flash for that. I'm like, oh, he's fine, right? He's fine. No, he's not fine.
Yeah, I think the last game we saw Jojo Pune on Lucian, and he hit the Crescendum turret a few times, and that's what led to his Cullings not being particularly effective. This game, however, don't have to deal with that, as the Aphelios is on his team, and he's just able to go forward, deal with NXI and triple.
Spear, I thought it was going to land on the NXI, getting a lot of damage on Jojo Pune. He's able to survive, still has flash too, if they need to. With Contracts nearby, it's going to be enough to scare Triple and NXI for fully committing to try to see if they can kill Jojo Pune. But it's still going to make it so that they have to try to see if they can reset, try to see if they can get a couple more of these summoners out, since we already have both Jojo Pune and Triple having used... Ooh, that went over to NXI, okay.
Using that Lilia speed up, able to just kind of walk on out of all the aggression that Contracts is going. But Contracts, that's it. Still hunting.
Not done. Has the blast going if he wants to be able to jump over. Dreams is nearby, so he's not actually going to do it. Instead, he's going to go right towards the dragon, knowing that NXI is trying to be able to get the Krugs, but I'd be surprised. With the level lead that NXI now has, Predator could. No, it's not up just yet. It's going to be about 15 more seconds, so maybe it's instead going to be the bot lane play, because we saw a lot of damage onto Mystique. Jorgu taking a bit of a brunt of damage too, trying to get away with the Lantern. Here's Contracts, here's the TP in behind. Little thing Lullaby. Can they finish off Mystique? But it's NXI who dies first. Tony Top dives right back in. Counter-strike
Kumo
flashed in, making sure they get the spear onto Tomo as well. Kumo trying to be able to get away from that one. But again, another TP play by EG Academy that works out well.
It worked out, and FlyQuest Academy commit way too much and get way too little out of that teleport. So Kumo comes on down, doesn't really get a kill or any summoner spells to speak of. Shoryu playing that exceedingly well to be able to survive as long as he did. FlyQuest Academy find themselves on the back foot as we take a look on this replay. NXI has the great setup. He has the ability to get in onto the Lantern that Mystique throws out, but unfortunately the Lilting Lullaby doesn't have any effect. Like, Contracts is here, the teleport is here, and FlyQuest are too scared to go in.
Exactly. Nobody follows up NXI after the Lilting Lullaby, and if you're not following up a Lilting Lullaby, what's the point there? You're just pretty much trying to disengage, and if you're not able to disengage, well, you get cleaned up like that with now a 2,000 gold lead picked up by Evil Geniuses. They've got Contracts 2-0-2. This is kind of looking reminiscent of last game for him as well, where he is just absolutely dominating on this Nidalee. It's just a lot earlier. This is what we wanted to see. The time pacing coming in from this Nidalee. As we have a Rift Herald play, Smite coming in from NXI. Shoryu is going to be able to scare them away. They are a level advantage. A lot of them over on the side of EG Academy trying to scare away FlyQuest from trying to see if they can even retain their own jungle.
They can't even get the Rift Herald buff that they had so properly earned. Unfortunately, Kumo's trying his best. Might actually be able to get it.
No!
Oh, no.
He spawned it now. Tomo's caught out with the heal. They have the crash down. Damage flashed away by Contract, and he's shut down by Kumo. Mystique's trying to be able to run away from this one. The Constellation Prize is picked up by FlyQuest Academy, looking to see if they can take down Shoryu. Gonna dodge a wave with the play. Knocked back, flashed in to be able to dash him out over the shoulder and shut down Mystique's as well. Kumo gifted so much gold. Moonlight Sigil gonna be able to get at least a little bit, but they've got the pull back in. Fear Beyond Death, triple kill, essentially, for Kumo.
Kumo just playing really well, getting the positioning he needs and almost picking up the Rift Herald, just barely out of time for that. Evil Geniuses Academy, they thought they needed to commit so much in order to get that buff away, but in fact committed too much and actually found themselves caught out versus Kumo versus NXI, and the lane swap for Evil Geniuses not working out.
But this is wild. This has been a very bloody game so far. Nearly a kill a minute coming in from both squads. And the fact that Kumo was able to get 3 kills in that one, as well as getting 2 shutdowns. This is just, I think, Evil Geniuses being too greedy. They thought they could easily kill Tomo, but obviously that didn't work out.
It was the lockdown onto the AD carry, onto Kaisa, that just made it virtually impossible in order to get in. And I said that, I mean they got it onto Contracts. You can see NXI trying to move forward, able to get a lot of damage down, and Shoryu is zoned out the entire fight. He tries to go forward, he tries to get a little bit more, but it's just not enough at this point in the game. He can get a kill, but you don't want to feed Kumo.
No, and that's going to be the problem that they now have to contend with. He's only sitting on the plated steel caps, Tiamat as well as the call. But eventually, once he's able to complete himself one of those mythics, get himself a legendary item as well, he's going to be a scary threat to contend with. We talked about how it's, technically a bruiser build, but it's got to be a lot of damage that this Urgot can provide to these team fights.
Urgot is one of those S tiers currently in solo queue play, especially for top, just because he does so much damage and is so safe with Conqueror that he will be able to obliterate both tanks and squishies alike. So if Evil Geniuses Academy aren't careful and they feed him too much, then he's literally going to 1v5 this game, Magical.
Granted, we do have to look at who he has to face on the other side. It is Tony Top on Jax. And Jax is someone who does counter Urgot pretty well and is going to be able to keep pace with him, try to see if he can even outscale him. Unfortunately, Moonlight Sigil does not connect, but they're going to be able to get the Gravitum stun that they want to. Nice Magnet Sword, draw them back in, crash down away. Dream's trying to survive, might have to give his life to be able to keep his ADC alive. For Shoryu, trying to dive Tomo, but the damage to trade 1-for-1. Tomo dodging away from the spear, surviving still underneath, trying to see if he can bait in EG Academy once more.
just a little too aggressive on that turret dive. The one thing you have to worry about versus Kai'Sa is not only that you're tanking the turret, but the fact that you have no other targets for the Cathian Rain to hit. So if you take all of those shots, you're gonna die.
Oh, look at this lilting lullaby. Puts him to sleep with the counter strike. Pulled back in. Where's the fear beyond death? Pull him back in.
No!
But, oh, it's a shutdown. Tony Top, the turret helped them out, trying to see if they can turn it back around. He dives to the passive Dream Dust, but it's still a 1-for-1.
It's so close, but Tony Top able to get a 1-for-1 out of that 2v1 dive. Very well played out of the Jax. It looked good at first, but Kumo just taking way too many shots.
This looks familiar. Flash in with the play. Killer instinct from Tomo, flashing away from the pull too, and they survive once more.
Evil Geniuses Academy focusing all of their effort onto getting Shoryu fed, but not finding the plays that they need, not getting the advantages that should be expected by a jungle gank twice in a row towards that top side. However, Tomo no longer has flash, Dreams is hiding, and maybe Evil Geniuses Academy try again.
Trying to see if they can get the Hex Flash. They want to be able to see if they can instead pick off Contracts with throwback over, doubled up as well on top of Contracts. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, but it's a support trade. You want to be able to have that fight back. Unfortunately, they had to retreat. FlyQuest giving up the first turret over to EGG.
The Evil Geniuses Academy able to get the first turret. Big play on their part. The focus that they put towards the top side does eventually pay off in at least gold advantage. Not necessarily the kill advantage that you were hoping for, but looking at this gank bot side again, coming in from FlyQuest Academy, it's so close, but the last turret shot does just enough, and NXI is able to clean it up afterwards. But Tony Top, I think he played that one pretty darn well to be able to get out of that with one kill.
Oh yeah, he did. He used that counter-strike right as the lilting lullaby was coming on top of him. Not too soon, just perfect timing, so that no matter what happened from Kumo, if he wanted to be able to commit to the play, actually make use of the lilting lullaby, he was going to get stunned, and that's how they were able to turn it around in the bot lane.
And with that, Dragon has spawned up again, Magical, and Evil Geniuses Academy once again have position on it for the moment. The vision is also in their favor, but you do have to worry about Dreams, who's going to be towards that bot side and able to engage, and as we've seen, very willing to engage on the members of Evil Geniuses Academy.
You know that they want to find these plays, they want to be able to punish them, but unfortunately, FlyQuest just haven't been able to do so. Not at least in a convincing way just yet. You see how the bot lane's been doing. Tomo and Dreams, despite the fact that they've absorbed a lot of ganks, they're still collectively 2 and 6 in that bot lane. Not exactly something that is singing praise. You need to be able to get them a little bit more confident. Try to see if you can get the gold outside of just Kumo and into the spot lane, but Dragon might be able to help out along the way.
Wow, FlyQuest Academy just find the perfect timing. They're able to force Contracts out of the Dragon Pit and then take the Dragon for themselves. So it's now 1-to-1 on an Infernal map.
And that's going to delay things. And we already know that FlyQuest Academy like when things are delayed. With this composition as well, they are about trying to see once more if they can play to the mid to late game. There are more elements on Evil Geniuses Academy this time around to be able to compete with them in that regard. But still, you always gotta favor how FlyQuest Academy tend to play with the Seraphine, with this Lilia, to be able to funnel this gold into Tomo, into even Kumo this time around.
There's a lot of options and a lot of answers from FlyQuest Academy, but Evil Geniuses, they're not slouching themselves. They still have the poke options. They still have the engage options that I think were missing last time. And Tony Top, although he hasn't taken off quite yet, eventually scales into a very scary character in this Jax.
I'm curious to see if it's going to be that Trinity Force build or maybe the Divine Stone today. It's always kind of like back and forth. I kind of like the Trinity Force a little bit more just because of the attack speed you get as Jax. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on how he builds up against Kumo. Right now, this time the Rift Herald is going to be secured by a team, not scared away. Evil Geniuses Academy getting that one completely uncontested, while FlyQuest are trying to see if they can answer into the spot lane, but it's on a Tony Top again. Let's see if it's going to be able to succeed.
And I feel like it will. I feel like that there are definitely ways for Kumo in which to dive this properly. Tony Top looking in a familiar situation down in the bot, NXI in the area. I don't think they're going to go for it, though, because Tony Top has, in fact, gotten stronger since last time, and you don't want to dive when you've already failed once.
Exactly. Plus, you already saw on the mini-map that Mystiques was already rotating down to the bot lane. Contract was in the area. There's a lot more that could actually be punished that time around as opposed to just a solo Tony Top in the bot.
There's definitely a lot of options available for both sides, but Evil Geniuses Academy, they seem to be playing a lot more passive than I would expect at this point in the game. They're ahead
Same.
by about 4,000 gold, and I would think that that's enough to push an advantage, especially given that they have the Rift Herald in Contrax's hands. This mid tower being up probably delaying them more than it should, and that's just attributed to the fact that they haven't put a lot of resources. That's the word I was looking for. I don't know why it took me so long. Resources towards this mid side. Once they do, should go down reasonably quickly.
Words are really difficult.
They are, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either. But right now, I will say it is difficult for the side of Evil Geniuses Academy to be able to crack this mid lane. That's the one thing about Seraphine. You know, she clears out the minion waves pretty effectively and is annoying to deal with because it's not like you're going to have kill threat with her, nor is she going to have kill threat over you. It's about clearing the minion waves, backing off, rinse and repeat over and over again until the end of times, until eventually you have the Moonstone Renewer, Staff of Flowing Water build completed. Oh, no. Contracts. Barely did that not connect.
I like the 8th dimension dodge coming in from Dreams, standing there and backing just out of range of that spear. And there's the Rift Herald going down, Evil Geniuses Academy, putting those resources that we talked about into the mid side, and probably going to get the turret based on the back timings of FlyQuest Academy.
Yeah, triple back, so it's an easy peasy push this time around. Doesn't seem like they're actually going to be able to fully commit the flash in. Lilting Lullaby. No one's here just yet. They got the pull in. Magnet Storm onto 3 members. They're waiting. They have the Encore. It's going to be able to connect. They've got
big Encore.
Shoryu's gone. Flashing coming in, but they're going to try to see if they can have Tony into the back line, trying to be able to get themselves 2 kills in the fight. NXI galloping away, trying to be able to get away from Contract. Swirlseed did not connect. Tomo is nearby, looking for the spear to be able to connect on NXI. Tomo is still nearby. He hasn't shown just yet. Swirlseed again not connecting, but now he is spotted out. Try to jump over the wall, looking for the killer instinct, but now that Mystics is there, having to back out of the fight. This is still the push coming in from Evil Geniuses because they have Tony top mid.
Oh, and they had a piece of the champ right there.
Oh, Tomo
gonna be caught out.
Trying to heal to be able to get a retribution kill, but he dies, and NXI, he gave the thumbs up. It's not okay, unfortunately, because they've lost the fight. It was a great play coming in from Evil Geniuses.
Just a rotation caught out there from Tomo. Looked like he probably backed a little bit too late, and Mystique's found him out. Unfortunately, once he gets caught, not a lot you can do on a Kaisa, even with that flash, even with the killer instinct.
Yeah, exactly. It was a bit unfortunate for them. And when we look at this replay, we can see it just feels like FlyQuest are trying to commit so early. Nobody's in a position to actually capitalize.
This is feeling a little like the tournaments that we've seen in the last week or so, where teams will go in with the Rel, with the Lillian, with these beautiful engages, but the damage can't follow. And Magical, if you go in without an actual follow-up, like you don't have Kumo, you don't have your mid laner, you don't have Tomo, it's going to be so tough to actually get anything done. And instead, you waste a Summoner spell, you waste a Lilting Lullaby, and FlyQuest Academy find themselves on the back foot once again to Evil Geniuses Academy.
But this time it feels like a far larger lead. As we round 20 minutes into the game, it's going to be the second dragon secured by Evil Geniuses Academy. One step closer to a potential soul if they need it. At this moment, with this kind of lead that they've been able to get themselves and try to see if they can rotate around towards the Baron buff, it seems a lot more difficult for FlyQuest to find that miracle fight like they did in Game 1.
More difficult, still not impossible. Again, the engage is there, they just need to be more coordinated with it, because if you have the damage, if you have specifically Triple and Tomo there, there's so much that you can do off a Rel NXI engage. There's a million hours of CC right there, and the damage that can follow that up, that's a wipe team fight. But Evil Geniuses Academy have craftily avoided it thus far, and with that, continue to rise their lead, currently at about 4,000.
Exactly, and the fact that they have the gold in the right places too. It's like you got a lot of gold into Tony Top, you got a lot of gold into Jojo Pion, even more gold into contracts, the ones that you're relying to be able to carry you. Shoryu's more of an insurance policy. Like, you need to be able to get someone to do damage into the mid game and these big team fights. That's where you get Aphelios. But at the moment, when you want to be able to have these split skirmish fights, EG are in the prime position.
And what's surprising me is Tony Top has managed to claw himself back. We remember Kumo getting a triple kill towards the towards the, 14-minute mark of this game. Tony Top has managed to come back. Is 2 full items online for Jackson, the Trinity Force that we were talking about, and the Blade of the Ruined King combined with Merc Treads. He's going to be very, very tough to deal with if you don't send at least 2 down.
NXI eating a spear there from Contracts, who's trying to see if they can wrestle control in vision on this top half of the map to be able to slowly choke the life out of FlyQuest Academy so they can continue and maintain this 4,000 gold lead. And that's going to work out perfectly for them. They don't have
Mystique's
to... I know, I saw that
barely
too.
missing that.
He wanted it so
unlucky.
bad. Had that connected, I don't even know if he'd kill Kumo there. Even if he doesn't have
No.
Flash, he's got Stride Breaker to get a little bit of resistance. He's already got the Titanic Hydra too. You can lock him down for a long time, but Kumo's going to be a lot more difficult to kill than you realize.
Yeah, there's just not going to be a whole lot of... Well, he's going to try anyway.
Well, he's going to try, and you can see there is a good amount of damage coming in. Fear Beyond Death, but here's the show.
Oh.
He's dead. Making sure they can get a one-for-one trade, though. Tony Top dives back in. It's a shutdown, picked up by Dreams. A lot of damage onto Contracts. JoJo trying to see if they can help out. Moonlight Sigil is going to be able to get the root they need to do, and they're going to be able to pull back in and try to see if they take down Dreams. Bot lane's gone. Evil Geniuses making a stand here in the bot lane at the trade of the life of Tony Top.
Tony Top is a monster. Magical, you questioned whether or not they'd be able to kill 2v1. It turns out you can kill him 2v1. Kumo just didn't have a chance in that matchup. Tony Top just goes in, gets the backup from the rest of the team, and unfortunately for FlyQuest Academy, they don't have an answer right now to the Big Jacks.
And honestly, I was proven wrong immediately. I thought, yeah, you know what? He's got Conqueror. He's not going to be able to do that much damage just yet. And no. He does a lot of damage just yet. And they even can wait it out. They can make sure Tony Top's going to be able to get this Baron buff. They're not in the position just yet. Six trying to make sure that NXI not going to be able to get into the pit. And instead, he has to give up his life. It's going to be the TP coming in from Tony Top. Flash away from Shoryu. Tony Top has to use the Leap Strike to be able to get out of there. 4 members will retain the Baron buff still.
I think that teleport, although it didn't really accrue to anything, did scare off FlyQuest Academy enough.
Yes.
So although it is quote-unquote a waste, it still allows them to get back and keep 4 members alive with this Baron buff, and that's going to be huge for this next push that's coming up. FlyQuest Academy do respond with a turret of their own. It's not going to mean enough, though, as this push is going to be developing underway.
Once these Baron up minions starting to show up into the mid lane, they're going to make it so they're going to have to fall back. They still do have a man advantage at the moment. Until Mystiques is able to show up, they have some way to be able to fight back FlyQuest. They got to be careful. That was a lot of damage that they tanked up from the calling, which is going to force them back, and it's almost the ebb and flow of this mid lane. With the Baron in the hands of Evil Geniuses, they can now push back in and try to see if they can force FlyQuest back into their own base.
They just have all the answers available on the side of Evil Geniuses Academy. They have the poke available, even in a 4v5 situation. Tony Top is just too much of a threat. You can't engage onto this team knowing that he's nearby. And even the disengage coming in from Mystiques now that he's here, it's just not easy to get the engage that you need on FlyQuest Academy. They need to pick out Contracts. They need to pick out Shoryu. But it's just not going to happen at this stage in the game.
Well, and this is going to be the hardest part for FlyQuest Academy, is if they can survive this Baron buff. If they can, there are the potential flanks that they can find to be able to get back into this game and be able to surprise Evil Geniuses. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be very likely. It's an easy setup with Tony Top in a side lane, Jack's side lane, split push. We always know the name of the game there.
And this FlyQuest Academy squad is looking for any sort of positioning they can get, but look at the vision coming out of Evil Geniuses Academy. They have this entire south jungle warded. The dragon is available. The bottom push is coming through. The mid push is also coming through. FlyQuest Academy are just confined to their base.
And with that cannon minion into the bot lane, they can get a good amount of damage onto that inhibitor, but Lilting a Lullaby was popped onto Tony Top. He leap striked away, and you're a bit too far from FlyQuest. You weren't able to make the play necessary. Tony Top's able to keep himself alive and safe so they can rinse and repeat this push into the side lanes.
And that's going to be another couple waves before that cooldown comes back. Triple eats a spear.
Ouch.
That's going to hurt. But he can heal it up. He's Seraphine.
Oh, but
as the
Magastor mid lane with the encore. They
Big
pull a
engage.
Jojo and they've been able to pull back in. Look at Tony Top. Trying to see if he can get the counter strike, but he's drawn back in. A
Big
lot of damage coming in. They're going to be able to take down Tomo. Flashed away to be able to survive. Shoryu was doing so much damage on the sideline. Neural Seed not going to be able to connect. And it's going to be a 1-for-2 trade in favor of FlyQuest.
FlyQuest Academy, they find the engage they needed. Dreams with the excellent crash down to Magnet Storm. Really all you need in that situation. You have the damage of follow-up, and that's what FlyQuest Academy was looking for the entire time. The CC plus the damage. And with that, they get a 2-for-1. It's not a game-changing push or set of kills, but it does put them in a much better mindset at the very least. They blew some cooldowns. They got some gold into their pockets, and now they can actually move out on the map a little bit.
Well, it's about surviving, right, Sam? It's all about them continuing to march forward and not losing their base. They didn't even lose an inhibitor turret with that Baron play coming in from Evil Genius. The only thing they lost of real note was that dragon. The fact that now Evil Genius's Academy are within Soul Point, and it's an Infernal Soul at that.
It's very close, but at the same time, Evil Genius's Academy, they do have to worry about this engage now, because FlyQuest Academy have shown they're not scared to do it. They've shown that they have a little bit of fight left in them, and Kumo, still scaling up, is going to be very scary as the game continues. I don't think Shoryu is going to be able to take him out.
No, I don't think so either, especially now that you have that Bramble Vest completed for him to make him a little bit more difficult. Plus, looking through the rest of the inventories of their teammates on the side of FlyQuest, you've got the Chemtech Putrefier coming in from Triple to apply even more grievous wounds. Tomo's got the Collector to be able to see if they can assassinate the backline a little bit more reliably. Unfortunately, still sitting, 2-6 on this Kaisa, not really having the best game possible. But honestly, I don't even know if Tomo's necessarily the one that has to be carrying this game. It's really falling back more towards NXI and Kumo at this point.
At this point, they will be the ones to engage, but you do also have to count Dreams, because Dreams is the one that makes or breaks this team combo, just because you do have so much CC on the Crash Down, the Attract and Repel, and the Magnetic Storm, that you can't keep Dreams in the back line. You need to make sure that he's forward, and you need to make sure that he's going onto the correct targets, which they were able to find last time, but Evil Genius's Academy, they can adjust. They might be able to win these team fights a little more cleanly.
I'm a bit surprised that Dreams did not go for that play. I thought for sure that he was going to pull the trigger a little bit sooner, but Hex Flash does take some time to wind up, and Jojo Pune and Contracts is going to be able to get out of there while Tony Top doing what Tony Top does best and split pushing on this Jax, making it so that someone's going to have to answer him. If you don't answer this Jax, we saw what happens when you leave a split push threat alone last series. They'll just end the damn game.
They'll be able to do it, but you gotta watch out for the team fight.
And Lilting Lullaby, but it's only onto one person. That's what we gotta keep in mind. So they didn't really have the trigger. And Tony Top, what a flank! Triple's gone. They even had the Magnet Storm only onto one member. Kumo trying to see if he can flash away to be able to survive. Might be leaving Dreams out the dry. Trying to get that track repel. Dead in the water. Tomo and NXI trying to be able to get back towards their base. But look at what time it is. 10 seconds till Baron.
And with the mid laner and the support down, you have to feel like Evil Genius's Academy are going to be able to take this Baron little to no problem. The Lilting Lullaby still has a long cooldown left, and Evil Geniuses have the damage to take this down really quick. A very, very great game coming out of Tony Top to win that one out.
Gonna be their second Baron of the game this time around. Hopefully they're going to be able to actually crack these inhibitor turrets this time. They got to make sure that they're playing this one patiently and not going too extended, because we've seen already that they can get a little bit too far out and be punished by FlyQuest. But it's seeming less likely, especially now that they have a 7,500 gold lead over FlyQuest.
FlyQuest Academy just need to reconsider what their positioning should be. If they play inside their base, they still have an advantage. If they play outside their base, they lose that advantage, and I think that was a major weakness of the last game, wherein they fought around Baron, they lost. They fought around Dragon after they lost that Baron fight, they lost again. But when they played through their mid-turret, they were able to get advantage. They were able to find kills and the picks that they needed. But Evil Genius's Academy, they've been able to force FlyQuest Academy out. Let's see if FlyQuest continues to force themselves out in this game.
FlyQuest have to force themselves out. 45 seconds about until that dragon's going to spawn. You cannot give up this Infernal Soul. You cannot just let it go without a fight. They go in, and they have the fight. Jojo Pune first to die in the fight. Tony Top's on the other side, looking to see if he can be able to get the flank, but they're going to be able to get the Lullaby. It's only onto the Seeks. They burned him down. Contract jumps into the backline, but they weren't able to kill Tomo just yet. Tony Top, huge counter-strike, but he's still not getting anybody. The shield doesn't help out. He will be able to resurrect, but now they're going to try to see if they can peel back, lose Tomo, and
Contracts
dive in, but it's going to be the trade back in.
Shoryu!
They've got him in! Shoryu's got triple pinned inside. He's got a quadra kill in the fight. NXI running for the hills to be able to survive, but EG, they've got the minions, they've got the Baron, and it looks like they might have the soul.
It looked like they had the picks, Magical. FlyQuest Academy start the fight. They pick JoJo Pune. They get Mystique shortly after, but Tony Top, the Giga Jax, comes in 1v5 and stalls the team for what felt like years, Magical, while Shoryu and Contracts just rain damage down.
And this is why we were talking about Tony Top on this Jax. It is his favorite pick, and he is proving why. This looked like a perfect fight for FlyQuest Academy. They got the pick onto JoJo Pune, but Tony Top is just too much.
He comes into 5 members with that Counter-Strike, managing to land beautiful stuns, and from there, FlyQuest Academy feel like they have to surround him. They don't go for the other carries, and that proves to be their biggest mistake as Shoryu cleans up with a quadra kill and is able to completely decimate the team fight.
This is the big problem. It's always that triple threat, and here it's a quadra threat coming in from Evil Geniuses Academy. Who do you focus the most? There, they felt like they already got JoJo Pune. They take out Tony Top, they win, but like you said, then that means Shoryu's getting free damage the entire time. And with this Baron, they're going to be able to get this final outer turret that remained for FlyQuest Academy, once again pushing them back into their base.
Kumo backing, he's not in the fight quite yet. Tomo taking a lot of damage, and that's really going to hurt them for this next fight.
Might be the first inhibitor turret cracked. Still up though, and look at Tony Top. He's just saying, all right, I got the minions. We already have the reset of the waves. Kelsey Moser, she'd be proud over there on how they're able to handle this. Rinse, repeat, wait it out. EG still trying to see if they can fight back. Gonna be the lilting lullaby. Looking for JoJo Pune into the back line. They have a huge encore, and look at that fear beyond death. Jax back line gonna be able to get triple, but they have Shoryu. This guy's a menace. He's trying to see if he can fight back. Tony Top atop, getting Kumo, getting the double kill, and Xi again, the sole survivor, and we know that's good for Bambi. No home to go back to. EG have the minions to march down mid and try to end this game in this series.
Too many threats, too much advantage. Evil Geniuses Academy come out on top. They fight it out, and let the previous results be damned, Magical. It is looking like a 2-0 for Evil Geniuses Academy versus
And Xi had the double stopwatch. He's trying. Finally, he dies. The Nexus turret is to fall, and Evil Geniuses Academy, they make sure they strike strong here in the round 1. 2-0 over FlyQuest Academy.
Less back and forth than last time, if I had to be honest, Magical. Evil Geniuses Academy, 2 games in a row, win over neutral objective fights and superior team fighting, which FlyQuest Academy should be winning by all accounts on paper.
They should be, and that's the crazy thing. It's like, you have to deal with so many threats that you feel like, okay, as long as we're this death blow, we fight them easily. They can't enter this fight from all angles, right? Well, Tony Top's like, nah, I can. I'm not really afraid of your death brush, and if you all are ganged up together, it's a lot easier to be able to get a huge stun off.
I don't know if you've ever seen a one-man death ball before, Magical, but Tony Top, when he gets ahead on top laners, he is the one-man death ball. And even back to the first play, Contracts was able to just make Shoryu ahead, and eventually, that was the key to victory, is making sure Shoryu was ahead. You had JoJo Pune as a threat himself, and Tony Top as the Giga Chad Jax, who was able to 1v1 in this play.
Oh, God, he was insane. It was absolutely incredible on that Jackson, proving why he loves to play this champion. Where right there, I thought for sure he did not have the damage to be able to kill Kumo just yet, but proved me wrong as hell. And from there, it just felt like Evil Geniuses were always able to make these plays, even when they were at a disadvantage.
It did feel like they were at a disadvantage, even though they had the full advantage, Magical. It looked like the pick plays coming out of FlyQuest Academy were enough, but man, the advantage that Evil Geniuses had already gotten meant that there actually was no advantage. You could see Jax was too big. Tony Top just could go anywhere he pleased, and Shoryu was there to back him up. Just very good team play, and overall, really good channeling the gold to where it needed to be from Evil Geniuses Academy.
Exactly, and right here, it's like, it seems like these are great fights and great engages coming in from FlyQuest. It's like, oh, Tony Top's not here, let's fight. Well, the problem is, it doesn't matter if Tony Top's not there, because eventually he will be. And that's the bigger problem.
It is, and FlyQuest Academy, they did their best, but unfortunately find themselves in the lower bracket, while Evil Geniuses Academy find themselves in the second round of the upper bracket, who will face against the winner of the 100 Thieves Academy versus CLG Academy game tomorrow.
Exactly, and that'll be what we find out tomorrow on how that's going to play out. But like you said, unfortunately for the side of FlyQuest Academy, not able to find that reverse sweep like they had done so well last week. It seems that Evil Geniuses Academy have learned so much over this year. I mentioned before, they're a team that didn't finish off the Academy split in a very good position. In fact, I think they were down towards the bottom of the standings. Yep. But they've been proving how much they've been able to grow over the course of these last few weeks, the last few months, in fact, of constantly working together and finding these better plays to really be able to take advantage of the early, mid, and right there, even utilizing Jax in the late game.
It's really just all the practice they've had over these other tournaments. Their performance in the Giant Slayer qualifier was incredible. I feel like they also looked pretty darn good, if I'm being honest, in the Northern Arena tournament. Like, they are just playing on a different level. Contracts feels like he's vibing in a way that he didn't during the regular season. And Tony Top, he found a lot of consistency in this series. I'm curious to see whether or not he gets it as the tournament continues.
As am I. I'm curious to see. It might end up being something similar to like we see with Dragoon, where Darius is not allowed, Jax isn't allowed for Tony Top. You're not gonna give something over like that he's gonna feel that confident, or maybe it's just one of those things that Evil Geniuses are only going to pick in a very specific kind of composition, similar to how we saw here, where they had the ability to last time, but they grabbed Camille early on. This time, they saw that it was a perfect opportunity for Tony Top to be able to play that Jax, especially into an Urgot.
It's really the fact that they're already focusing bans on him. You saw FlyQuest Academy banning away the Urgot and the the Renekton and the Gnar, both Game 1 and Game 2 away from him. Anytime in the regular season he popped off, it was on the Renekton. So it feels like he's got multiple champs that he can go to, and this is what's going to make him a very scary player.
I hear that we are ready for an interview. Right. Oh, not ready yet. Okay, we are ready. Sorry about that. Just wanted to make sure that we were all ready. So we have a player interview. I think it's Jojo Pune that we're going to be able to have for our Verizon Wireless interview. Welcome in, Jojo Pune. Congratulations on that victory. And just to start things off, I want to ask with how that game worked out. Was it all you guys banking on Tony Top, or did you know that it was going to be victory regardless?
I mean, we were coming in the second game just playing for top, Tony Top on Jax. It worked out, so yeah. I mean, we just played for top. ADC, bot did really well too, so yeah.
It feels like you guys have practiced this double AD composition where you have you on Lucian, and then you also have Shoryu on a strong AD himself. Is this something that you've been practicing for a long time, or is this something that's been more of a recent sort of structure for the team?
Yeah, I've been playing Lucian for a while. I think our team just knows what to do when I play Lucian. So I think we're just really smooth. We're really comfortable with this comp. We can play other comps too, but I'm glad we got to play this one today because I think we're the most practiced on this one, so yeah.
That is fair. I do want to ask you this because we saw this both times. Do you think that at any point during this tournament you'll ever get your Rise?
I don't know. I mean, my Rise is that good, right? So I mean, it's always banned. If it's not banned, then I'll probably pick it, but yeah, we'll see.
One day.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see it personally, but something I also want to see is the synergy that you guys have found has just been great over the last couple tournaments that you guys have been playing. What would you say is the main thing that you guys have changed between the season, where you guys didn't finish quite on top, and the last couple tournaments that you've played where you've looked fantastic?
I think like we just weren't. I mean, I'm a rookie, right? And Tony's like kind of a rookie too, so we just weren't that experienced and competitive. And like our teamwork got way better over the past month. And the coaching staff has been really good too in helping us. So I think that's why we improved so much. And yeah, we found our play style. Yeah. So that's why.
Yeah, you guys really have been able to find that play style that's really working out well for you. And it almost makes me sad that it's like now you guys are able to prove this, and not unfortunately back in the regular split, but I feel like this is a great like resurgence for you guys where you can prove that you're going to be one of those top teams. And when we look over to the series that potentially you guys are going to be playing against, it's going to be either 100 Thieves Academy or CLG Academy. Between those two teams, which of the two teams do you fear a little bit more than the other?
I mean, we already versed CLG and we beat them, so I think 100 Thieves is gonna be much more scary to verse. I don't think we versed 100 Thieves in a long time, and they look pretty good. So yeah, probably 100 Thieves.
Good stuff. And honestly, I think it'll be a great game regardless of who wins out. But I got to ask one last question, Jojo Pune. Are you taking this all the way? Is this going to be a first place run from the Evil Geniuses Academies? Or is it
we're
going
gonna
to
try,
Evil Geniuses
definitely.
Prodigies in the final? Awesome.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you, Jojo Pino. It was great having you in. Congratulations on your victory. I feel like you guys are going to be able to take it. I have a feeling that you guys have found your stride and you're going to be able to do well. And I wish you luck on how you're going to be able to do going forward in this tournament.
Yeah, thank you.
It was great having him in. It was also great being here for the first day of Proving Grounds. We had a lot of awesome gameplay, but obviously it's only day one, right? Right, Sam? We got lots more ahead of us, and I feel like we should probably talk a little bit about what we're expecting coming in for tomorrow, the games that we might see. If we can bring up the bracket, there it is, so we can see what we got in store. I believe tomorrow is going to be Zeus Gaming versus TSM Academy, and then after that is going to be the 100 Thieves Academy versus CLG Academy.
Well, the TSM Academy is going to be looking for the salty run back against Zeus because, as we've talked about before, Magical, in the United Grand Prix, in the very start of these qualifiers, TSM lost to Zeus Gaming. So I feel like this is going to be a great grudge match coming in. And on the bottom side, this 100 Thieves Academy squad, I love Luger. Let me just point out that I love the 80 carry of 100 Thieves Academy, and I'm excited to see him play more. And I feel like that's going to be a great series as well.
I feel like it is. I feel like it's going to be one of those cases where 100 Thieves Academy are going to be able to prove to a lot of people why they are a strong team, similar to how Evil Geniuses Academy are. But CLG Academy needs to show a lot of people that how they performed in a lot of those tournaments before, where they lost the first tier one tournament. They had to go to the secondary one to be able to qualify for Proving Grounds. They have to be able to prove that they deserve this a little bit more than a lot of people might give them credit for. They did a great job in that second tier one, but it still gave us questions on how they're going to perform going into Proving Grounds here.
There are definitely questions, but I feel like the answers are going to have to wait until they play. I feel like even though it hasn't been much time since the last time they played, there are still improvements that can be made, some scrims. Maybe they found some genius answer in the last, I don't know, week or so, where they actually have a different play style. They have something clicked among the team, and maybe they'll just show up in an entirely different way.
You never know, and that's the thing about tournaments like this. You just don't know until they finally play. Like how we saw earlier, Cloud9 Academy be able to prove to everyone how they were able to dominate in that first series 2-0 over Dignitas Mirage, who had a lot of fight in themselves as well. Don't scoff at that 16th seed. I feel like they're going to be able to do a lot in the lower bracket, as well as looking at FlyQuest Academy, who are going to be joining them in the losers bracket, while Evil Geniuses Academy continue to march forward. 2-0s all around. We're going to end it for the evening. It was great being here to start off Proving Grounds. I hope you join us in it tomorrow for more exciting action. It's going to be great to see how Zeus Gaming and TSM Academy are going to be able to start it all off. So join us tomorrow.